Hi everyone in Linguistics 25. So this is pretty much my sixth time recording this video because I keep getting cut off and things keep going wrong, but I really want those extra credit points, so I'm trying this again. So this is for the week 4 discussion. I'm going to try to make this a lot quicker than I had in previous attempts. Week 4 discussion, we were supposed to choose a topic to touch on, basically research, explain, and give examples. So I chose question 9, which was the big list of things, and I chose to focus on reproductive rights, especially reproductive rights of women. So just to define it really quick, Wikipedia defines women's reproductive rights as the right to legal and safe abortion, the right to birth control, freedom from coerced sterilization and contraception, the right to access good quality reproductive health care, and the right to education and access in order to make free and informed reproductive choices. So for my example here, I'm going to use abortion just because it's the most prominent one that we hear about all the time, and especially now that the 2016 candidates for the presidential election are offering up their social standpoints on social issues. This is what I've chosen to touch on. So I am a single mom of an 18-month-old daughter. The father is completely uninvolved. He has been completely uninvolved since day one. So I just want to say that as her mother, if she ever came to me at, God forbid, a young age, like 13, 14, 15, but at an age like 16, 17, 18, came to me and told me that she was in a position where she had gotten herself pregnant or someone had gotten her pregnant and she did not want to be pregnant, she did not want to give a baby up for adoption, she did not want to deliver a baby, she didn't want a parent, I would be completely outraged if I wasn't able to help her find a way out, basically. And if anyone were to tell my daughter, I'm sorry, this is just the parent in me coming out, but if anyone were to tell my daughter that she would be forced to carry a pregnancy for 9 months, because let me tell you from experience, not fun, not fun. I keep, this thing is backwards, so not fun, really does a lot of damage to your body, a lot of long-lasting damage to your body, which I don't think a lot of people realize. People think women are just built to push out babies and have baby after baby. Not true, not the case. So if someone told her that she would be forced to do that, I would be completely outraged. And on the same note, if I had a medical procedure that I not only desired, but I paid to receive, because I do pay for my health care, and I was turned away, I would be livid. So the issue with denying women the right to abortion simply because a pregnancy has the propensity to become a person. I am a strong believer that a pregnancy is not a person. I really hope I don't offend anyone with that, but science is science and fact is fact, and a pregnancy is a, I'm not even going to explain that scientifically. I'm not even going to do that. So if a baby can't survive outside the womb, it's not a baby. It's not a fetus until 20 weeks. That's just a fact as well. So sorry, I got a little bit lost there. The issue with denying women the right to abortion simply because the pregnancy has the propensity to become an individual is that the protection for the fetus stops once they are born. So once the child is born, the pro-life supporters, they're not beating down the door offering financial assistance and, you know, rearing assistance in children. It just ends there. And for every woman who wants to have an abortion, for every aborted pregnancy, there is not a family out there to raise the child. The reality of the situation is that a lot of unwanted or unexpected pregnancies, the children do end up in bad situations. They end up in the system, foster care, with neglectful parents, drug-addicted parents, just really terrible upbringings, and the whole process is just a circle. So basically those children will go on to become basically a product of their environment, and that's not what this discussion is about, and of course there's exceptions to that rule as well. But as a woman who's very in tune with my sexual and reproductive health, this is where it's going to get a little bit personal, so if you're not comfortable with personal explanations, then I would click away from this video. But as a woman who's been very in tune with my sexual and reproductive health since the age of 13, I've had times when I've had to make choices and I've been given options and I've been told bleak outcomes and I've been coerced or attempted coercion into things that I was not comfortable with, and I felt very violated. I felt like my rights were very violated. For as example, my first pregnancy, I got pregnant unexpectedly. I was not in a relationship. I was not seeing the father. He was not involved at all. He had absolutely no interest in being involved. So as a rundown at your first OBGYN appointment, you're basically given just information. So you're told your basic three options. There's other options, but basic three options: abortion, adoption, or parenting. So I told this OBGYN point blank that I was going to be parenting, I was going to be a single parent, and I was going to make it work. However, I had to make it work. He didn't seem thrilled with that idea, but that was not his, I mean, he's a doctor. He's there to be a doctor. That was not his place to insert his opinion. My second appointment with him, I didn't bring anyone with me, so I was alone in the room with him before the ultrasound technician came in to check on the pregnancy. And basically, not point blank. He didn't tell me point blank this. I'd be lying if I said he did. But basically, he told me that abortion is the best option for me. Basically gave me a rundown on why it would be the best option for me. I felt really coerced into having an abortion. I felt like he was trying to make me make a decision on the spot and basically commit to a decision that I was not comfortable with. It didn't matter anyway, because once the ultrasound tech came in, the doctor confirmed that there was no cardiac activity in the pregnancy, and the pregnancy had failed but not miscarried. So I was sent over to surgery to get the pregnancy removed. So, but that doesn't make the situation, just because the outcome of the situation did not result in a child, does not make the fact that what he did was a violation of my rights, and what he tried to make me do was a violation, a complete violation of my reproductive health, my personal reproductive health. So in my second pregnancy, I'm going to try and make this quicker. I have a subchorionic hemorrhage that started at 12 weeks, which is basically you have your uterine wall and you have your placenta. I'm going to make my placenta like that. And placenta attaches. That's where your baby gets food, oxygen, all sorts of life. I had a blood clot that formed right in the middle of these two, basically like that. And it was growing. So as it grew, it would bleed. And if the placenta were to detach, the child would lose all life source, basically, and pass away. At 16 weeks gestation, which is pretty far along in gestation terms, my doctor told me I had a 75% chance of delivering my baby still if I did not commit to having an abortion in the next 3 weeks. After 20 weeks gestation, a woman is not able to have an abortion. You have to be induced, you have to go through labor, you have to give birth. She basically told me that my baby was going to die, and again, not in these words, but basically told me that my baby was going to pass away, that I was not going to have my child, and that I needed to make a decision. And this happened to be an appointment where my husband was not present. I did switch OBGYNs after that. I switched doctors. I fell in love with my new doctor. At my 20-week anatomy scan, which is where they check everything on the baby and all the vital organs, everything, I was told that I had a 1 in 100 chance of having a baby with Down syndrome, which when you look at it in those terms, it's a 1% chance. But when you look at it in terms of what a normal pregnancy has, which is, I don't remember the exact figure, but it's something like 1 in 500,000 chance. So 1 in 100 chance is a pretty big chance of having a baby with special needs. I was told my options. I was told that I was able to abort. This was basically my last chance to abort my baby, and that if not, I was going to have a special needs child, basically. And I was thankful that I was given those options, because I can't imagine being told that and then not having the choice to decide if I wanted to take that on for the rest of my life or not. I have an 18-month-old. That's the baby monitor back there. She's crying. She is perfectly healthy. She does not have Down syndrome. She's developing way ahead of her age group. She's amazing. So those are just a couple examples of times where I felt like my reproductive rights were being made up for me by doctors. A couple other examples. I have friends who aren't able to get their tubes tied because, to quote their OBGYNs or their doctors verbatim, they haven't had 2 successful pregnancies and they're not old enough to make the decision to become sterile, basically, which I think is outrageous. I know teenagers who aren't able to get contraception while condoms are being handed out left and right to teenage men. Women are not being offered the same protection. I know people who've had abortions and completely regret them, wish they never had them. I know people who've had abortions who are completely at peace with their decision and do not regret them at all. And I think the bottom line that I'm trying to make here is that the choice is there for these women, and that's what women's reproductive rights are. It's your right. It's your choice. And to take away that choice would push feminism back to the passing of the 19th Amendment when we were given the right to vote. We would be back at square one if we allowed other people to control our bodies once again and become property of government, husbands, dads, you know. Anyway, to conclude, because I need to go get her since she's awake, the issue of women's reproductive health isn't going to end. There's never going to be a happy medium. Nobody is ever going to come to an agreement on the issue of abortion, contraception. The Plan B pill is another really big one. No one is ever going to agree on this. I would like to point out, just really quick, that by a very small figure, those in favor of overturning Roe v. Wade, which was the case that legalized abortion, the majority of people, by a very small number, are male, and this is relevant only because men are pretty much the only people that are never going to be faced with the decision to end a pregnancy. A man is never going to be given that choice. A man is never going to be told, your baby's going to die if you don't abort them, and you're going to have to give birth to a stillborn baby. A man is never going to be told, you cannot, a man's never going to be told he has to commit to a pregnancy. Men don't commit to pregnancies. My husband didn't commit to a pregnancy. So that's relevant. Anyway, just like I said, no happy medium is ever going to be reached. But I think if every person could just look past religious views, emotional ties, personal experience, they'd be able to see that until they're faced with the agonizing reality of having to make such a difficult decision for not only you, but for a pregnancy, I don't think anyone has the right to take a stand for anyone else. I would never tell someone who felt that I would never tell someone who is pro-life that they are wrong. I would never tell them that. But if they were becoming abusive or vile or anything like that towards me and my body, yes, I would tell them they were wrong. But if it was their body, I would never tell them they're wrong, because that's not my place. And it's not politicians' place. It's not parents' place. It's not husband's place. And basically, that was my example for reproductive rights for this discussion. And I really hope I didn't offend anybody. Sometimes I get a little bit too passionate and a little bit too overzealous on things. But this is something that's really close to my heart, especially having a daughter and knowing that one day she's going to be faced with, she is going to be a sexual being one day. And hopefully I'm going to be there for that and be able to support her in every way that I can. But I'm really looking forward to seeing your guys' discussions and what you chose to discuss. And I'm really hoping that I get some positive feedback on this video. And if not, I'm hoping we can have some structured debates, I guess, or just some structured conversation about reproductive rights in women. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye.